Power belongs to the one whose heartbeat the room cannot buy. The boardroom is bright as an operating theater. Slides glow, air hums. A problem lands on the table like a blade, a recall, a leak, a name trending for the wrong reason. Across from you, a leader clears his throat, eyes flicking to the clock, fingers drumming a nervous tattoo. In 10 seconds, everyone's price goes up. Vendors widen timelines. Managers soften numbers. Opportunists scent blood and pitch. Just in case budgets, his pulse becomes a market, and the market takes its cut. You say nothing, you make a note. You let the silence burn off the panic like fog under noon. Then you do one simple thing, you set the next step. The evidence format and the hour. The room reprices itself down. Your pulse is a price tag. When you flinch, you signal that respect is negotiable. When your voice climbs, you auction authority to the loudest bidder. People do not always know the truth, but they always know the temperature, and temperature sets terms. A steady cadence writes a cheaper contract with reality. No rush premiums, no fear fees. Calm does not cuddle the room. Calm taxes it. Calm makes others pay with clarity. Proof on paper, deadlines on calendar, names on lines before they can touch your time. Understand this, rooms are courts, not confessionals. You do not go there to be understood. You go there to be predictable. Courts reward procedure, not catharsis. The witness who weeps still answers to the clock. The advocate who shouts still argues inside rules of evidence. You too must run on rails, not moods. Speak less about feelings. Spend more on frameworks. People will forgive you for being cold if your coldness makes outcomes arrive on time. They will not forgive you for being warm and wasting their week. So you replace the need to be heard with the duty to be legible. You trade "let me explain" for "here is the scope, here is the proof, here is the window." You stop narrating fairness and begin posting structure. You do not seek agreement. You require alignment. The difference is law. Agreement is weather. Law is climate. Calm is not a personality trait. Calm is a plan. You will build it like an engine, not like a prayer. Policy over mood. Choreography over improvisation. Consequence over volume. You set frames before you set foot in the room. What is in, what is out, what counts as evidence. When a decision will be stamped, you pair every invitation with a timer. You pair every discussion with an artifact. You pair every promise with a cost for failing and a reward for keeping it. Your voice becomes a metronome that others must match to be heard. In practice, this looks like small, repeatable moves. A crisis briefing opens with 3 boxes: status, risks, next actions. Speaking order is posted. Time slots are visible. You ask for receipts, not stories. Version, date, owner. When someone tries to drag you into volume, you redirect to form, show me the document. When someone tries to drag you into speed, you redirect to proof, bring 2 sources. When someone tries to drag you into pity, you redirect to policy. Here is the rule, here are the options. You do not punish emotion, you make it irrelevant. The paradox is simple. Cold control frees warmth for where it counts. Your team stops guessing your weather. Clients stop testing the edges. Family stops timing you by your temper. You become boring in the best way, predictable, precise, on schedule. In chaos, boring is luxury. In danger, boring armor. Hold this image. Storms outside, steady lights inside. Hands reach for you not because you soothe them, but because you shorten their path to safety. That is real care. That is rational mercy. And that is why you will govern your pulse until the room learns to govern itself. Frames first, timer next, proof or silence. Sentiment is wind. Structure is the wall. It hits. You were taught that if you're sincere, people will respect you. That if you show everything, betrayal won't dare approach. Those soft skills, empathy, patience, charm, can replace rules. That venting sets you free. These are comforts that drain your leverage. You do not need colder blood. You need colder engineering. Let the heart beat. Keep the hand on the lever. Sincerity without structure is a discount. Raw honesty, offered without rules, becomes free data for rivals and ammunition for the board. You confess timelines, cash fears, and team weaknesses in the name of trust. They do not thank you. They price you. Containment is the price of respect. Pair truth with scope limits and timing. In sales, you don't hand the full price sheet and roadmap on the first call. You state the outcome, test appetite, and release detail after a letter of intent. In interviews, you discuss failures only inside a frame that shows remedy and metric, missed SLA by 12%, fixed with a rollback rule and checklist. No repeats in 6 months. In internal debates, you avoid live streaming your doubts. You publish a pre-read 2 options, 1 metric, deadline Friday. You speak the truth that moves the decision at the moment it buys you ground. Practice small. When a colleague pushes, be candid, what's your budget ceiling? You answer with ranges and conditions. We scale to X under Y savings. Above that, we cut scope. When a reporter asks for off-the-record honesty, you decline the theater and offer facts with links. When a friend presses you at midnight, you do not bleed your soul into their chat. You set a window. No serious talk after 10 noon tomorrow, 40 minutes. Your feelings are real. Your timing is law. Sincerity becomes a signal because you kept it inside rails. Transparency without teeth is theater. Dashboards, town halls, heart-to-hearts. None of it protects you unless visibility touches cost. Tie what's seen to what happens. Define what counts, deadlines, deliverables, logs. A public metric without a trigger is decoration. With a trigger, it is a switch. If churn sits above 5% for 2 weeks, hiring freezes. If it falls below 3.5%, the bonus pool expands by 2%. If a P1 incident breaches 60 minutes, a mandatory retro occurs within 48 hours. Actions assigned, owner named, cameras do not prevent theft. Locks do. Make your transparency a lock. Run the same law at home. If you proclaim, we value communication, but fights keep erupting, attach the value to mechanics, daily check-in at 7 p.m., 15 minutes, escalation pause after 9 p.m., unresolved issues roll to Saturday council for 40 minutes. The log becomes a record. The record becomes gravity. You will be called rigid by those who profit from drift. Let them complain. The rule will rescue you at 1 a.m. when the old script tries to return. Soft skills need hard walls. Empathy without policy becomes unpaid labor. Patience without boundaries trains delay. Make kindness operational. Install response windows, refusal scripts, and queue triage response windows. Acknowledged within 2 hours, full response in the afternoon block. Emergencies call, not text. Refusal scripts, short lines that decline without debate. No same-day edits past 3 p.m., Friday slot available. Happy to help up to 10 slides. Deeper work requires a scoped request. Queue triage, intake form converts vibe into scope. Owner inputs desired outcome, latest useful date. If inputs slip, the request pauses automatically. You do not argue, the queue speaks. Modern scenes prove it. A nice engineer says yes to every ping, every late request, every weekend quick fix. 6 months later, their calendar is rubble, their reputation is reliable, and their promotion case is thin because favors are invisible on a roadmap. Another engineer installs walls, office hours, runbook, on-call rotation enforced, intake required. She became an architect because she shipped systems, not apologies. Empathy remains. It now rides on rails. Venting is a leak. Your unfiltered outpouring is a map of your triggers, who scares you, what breaks you, where to press. The room doesn't need that map. Your rival collects it. Relief purchased with public confession is expensive. Replace performance with protocols, delayed debriefs, private logs, proxy messengers. Delayed debriefs, schedule the release after the chemicals drop. I will talk about this at noon, not now. Private logs, write the raw entry to a locked journal, then compress it into 3 lines. What happened, what it cost, what you'll do. Proxy messengers, when emotion runs high, but action is required, send a neutral courier. Please relay decision stands, rationale attached. Next review on the 15th. Your feelings still matter, they simply stop steering the car. Shift the culture around you. When teammates treat the group chat like a diary, you redirect to logs, add to the retro doc under frictions. We'll sort at Friday 3 p.m. When a manager rewards theatrical transparency, you insist on receipts, links, dates, owners. When a friend tries to make midnight venting a ritual, you trade it for a morning walk with a notebook. The body will resist. The calendar will heal it. Thread the mechanics across 1 week and feel control return. Monday, write refusal scripts you can speak under pressure. Add them to your text expander and email templates. Tuesday, enforce response windows and set an acknowledged full reply after 2 p.m. Macro so adrenaline doesn't own your thumbs. Wednesday, turn a metric into a switch. Define the reward and penalty before the number moves. Publish both. Thursday, implement queue triage. Move all quick asks into the form. Pause anything missing inputs. Friday, schedule a delayed debrief. 30 minutes to write, 10 minutes to decide an action, 0 minutes to perform a public catharsis. Notice the shift. Meetings shorten because you defined what counts. Requests shrink because the form converts fantasy to scope. Conflicts cool because the clock refuses drama's favorite hour. Your honesty lands as decisions, not stories. Your kindness shows up as clean expectations, not overtime. Your silence starts costing other people time because it sits on policy, not fear. You did not become hard, you became legible. Remember the city. People are moved by the shortest visible path with the clearest clock and the lowest immediate cost. Build that path. Put your truth on it. Charge tolls for chaos. Let sincerity live, but meter its release. Let transparency shine, but wire it to switches. Let soft skills breathe, but fence them so they don't drown you. Let emotion speak, but give it a quiet room and a pen. You will be accused of being calculated. Accept the charge. Calculation is how bridges stand and markets clear. You will also be trusted by adults who value rails over mood. They will learn your tempo, respect your refusals, and meet you in daylight with their documents ready. That is emotional control in a city of appetite. Not numbness, but architecture. Contain truth, wire visibility to cost, put kindness on rails, and keep your storms off the stage. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. Your rivals study which one moves you quicker. They do not need to outthink you. They need to outhandle your nerves, praise, abandonment, humiliation, and the urge to argue fairness. These are the levers. When they are hidden, you call them characters. When they are mapped, you call it control. Today you turn each wound into a channel with gates, prices, and scripts that cannot be bullied in the square. Compliments are the fastest grip. Praise buys early access, and price cuts on your time because it feels cheaper than cash. You waive verification to keep the warmth. Your leadership is refreshing. Could we preview the roadmap? You send slides before signatures. Only you see the whole board. Quick call. You surrender an hour without a deposit. A friendly buyer congratulates your integrity and invites a discount to prove our partnership. They spend flattery the way princes spend coins to purchase secrets and speed. Counter with receipts, not feelings. Swap applause metrics for outcome receipts. Delivered, documented, on time. Delivered means a user's pain is closed. Documented means decisions and specs are signed and versioned. On time means the date held without heroic burn. Tie access to these three. Write your line, happy to share after delivery receipt and signed doc set. Until then, I can offer the public brief. Write your cost line. Advisory calls are billed, next availability Thursday, prepaid. If praise cannot pass a receipt, it is theater. Enjoy it without paying for it. Fear of being left opens your calendar like a gate without hinges. Abandonment panic makes you cheap, available, and vague on scope. The room says others are in line and you accept their clock. A partner hints this closes tonight and you widen the promise. You become a discount disguised as devotion. Install anchors that raise the cost of exploiting neediness. Cooling periods, minimum scope, and deposits before engagement. Cooling periods kill theater. Commercial concessions observe a 24-hour window. Structural changes observe 72 hours. Minimum scope keeps small tasks from swelling into policy. We engage at a baseline package. Piecemeal work isn't supported. Deposits turn affection into accountability. We begin with a paid discovery sprint. The remainder floats only against milestones. Prurite refusals that respect the person and ignore the pressure. We won't make durable decisions on borrowed urgency. Here are two options inside policy. The decision window closes at 10 o'clock. If the opportunity survives daylight, you accept on your frame. If it evaporates, you price to bluff. Old slights wire your tongue to your hands. Humiliation replay converts a look into an oath, a tone into a guarantee, a tweet into a treaty. You promise too much to prove you are different, then under-enforce to prove you are not cruel. Ego writes policy in the heat. Enemies collect in the cool. Replace impulse with a circuit. 60 seconds every time the blood rises. Breathe to 5 in and 5 out, twice. Classify the source: fool, rival, traitor. A fool is sloppy and seeks attention. A rival is competent and seeks position. A traitor breaks trust and seeks your seat. Pick proportionate options. Fool, ignore or delegate. Never feed with stage time. Rival, formalize cost, deadlines, metrics, consequences. Argue in numbers, not adjectives. Traitor, document, revoke, replace. Prurite microscripts. So your dignity is a button, not a monologue. Noted. We'll follow the escalation path in Section 4. Decision is metrics bound, see attachment. Access suspended pending audit. When proportion is pre-decided, your pride cannot sell tomorrow to rescue tonight. Your weakness for fairness is the most respectable trap. Rivals bait you into symposiums about justice because moral theater is cheaper than compliance. They frame your terms as cruelty and invite you to debate first principles while deadlines slide. Is it fair to charge a fee for late assets? Isn't true partnership flexible? If you enter the pulpit, you have already left the throne. Move from argument to architecture. Post the rules, root every dispute to them. As per policy X, late assets trigger Y fee and Z slip. This protects all parties from hidden costs. As per service charter, flexibility is priced in Tier 2. Would you like to upgrade? Dry, formal, boring, therefore strong. The more public the rhetoric, the more private the ledger must govern. Prurite exits. We don't adjudicate fairness in meetings, we execute contracts. If policy needs revision, propose text by Friday. A system ends sermons. Now fix the knowledge into steel. Your shadow ledger, one page kept where your hand can reach it during heat. Column 1, triggers. Column 2, countermeasures. Column 3, scripts. Column 4, prices. Praise timer, proxy, script, price, timer. No spontaneous yes. Wait 10 minutes before replying to flattery. Proxy, ret. Request for access to an ops lead. Script, shareable after receipt. Price, paid, advisory, or deposit for previews. Abandonment window, floor, pilot, script. Window, 24-72-hour cooling. Floor, minimum order size. Pilot, short, reversible, measured. Script. 2 options inside policy. Window closes at 10 o'clock. Humiliation, 60-second loop. Classification, proportion, script, loop. Breathe twice. Classification, fool/rival/traitor. Proportion, ignore/delegate/decide. Script, per Section 4, fairness linked to posted rules. Escalation path, revision gate. Script, link URL of policy. Path, who signs exceptions. Gate, monthly window to revise text. Script, we follow the charter. Propose edits by the 1st. Price, every exit. Exception fee, rush fee, change order. When a debate starts, you should be able to point, paste, and price within 30 seconds. Practice the choreography in small rooms so it holds in large ones. In a friendly meeting, let a compliment land and still require the receipt. On a minor deal, enforce the cooling period even if it feels rude. When a harmless jab pricks an old bruise, run the 60-second loop until your language returns to numbers. When someone invites moral theater, route to policy and stop speaking. Reward the teammate who speaks your script under pressure. Promote the operator who protects the architecture without announcing virtue. Understand the economy of manipulation. Courtiers of code like to buy speed. Nervous buyers spend urgency to buy your clock. Old ghosts spend heat to buy your promises. Aggrieved voices spend philosophy to buy your terms. If you must pay, pay only with surplus attention and only for returns that land in the ledger, delivered, documented, on time. Everything else is a tax on sovereignty. You will still feel it. The sugar of praise on the tongue, the ice of silence in your chest, the flash of memory in the bones, the pull of the crowd at your sleeve. Let them pass like weather over stone. Your state is not a feeling, it is a schedule with teeth. Speak when words move delivery. Sign when the policy fits. Breathe when the blood shouts, and always charge admission to your hour. Point to the rule, quote the price, run the timer, and let the receipt end the talk. Men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. When your wound drives you, the room sees it before you do. You flinch in public, one rushed concession, one jittery, "we'll make it right," one discount you announce before anyone asks, and the cost multiplies. People do not price your intention, they price the visible signal. A single bend becomes a menu. The moment you move your price once, the market treats movement as your price. Watch the cost spiral with forensic eyes. One public flinch forces 3 renegotiations. The customer who was quiet asks for a consideration to keep parity. The vendor who missed last month's date suggests a mutual grace period. A partner who heard your apology tour adds goodwill credits to the next scope. You think you bought peace, you bought a multiplier. Discounts widen, deadlines slip, favors proliferate, and every yes that comes easy returns as expectation. You taught the room the lever that moves you, noise. The ledger records what the heart denies. Reactivity is expensive. Costs compound in places you do not see. Your team stops planning around contracts and starts planning around the next surprise. Engineers build buffers, sales pads decks with soft landings, finance models slippage as standard practice. Margin leaks through friendly holes. Meanwhile, your inbox becomes a marketplace of emergencies that pretend to be exceptions. They are not exceptions. They are your new normal priced by your last public flinch. Then the contradiction theater opens under bright lights. You preach standards to sound principled and wave them to stay liked. You print no scope creep, then grant 3 clarifications that change the work. You post respect the calendar, then approve a Sunday push to show we care. You announce one rule for all, then carve an after-hours favor for the loudest account. The documents and DMs remember. They do not care about your motives. They capture your moves. Screenshots travel faster than your explanations, and explanations rarely travel at all. In this theater, your own words become exhibits. A slide declares net 30, firm, while a chat says, we can extend to net 60 this once. A policy reads QA required for release, but the email says, ship now, we'll fix Tuesday. People stop quoting your policy and start quoting your precedent. Leverage does not live in speeches. It lives in what you enforce when it stings. Once the room believes standards are optional, your options disappear. Observe the operational drift that follows. Meetings include more witnesses because nobody trusts the rule to stand without an audience. Reviews double because the first result is rarely the last decision. Your best people invent local procedures to protect themselves from your mood. They are not disloyal, they are rational. They ship behind a curtain because the stage is unsafe. Now comes ally attrition, cold and clinical. Reliable players exit to steadier gates, not with protest but with clean calendar moves. Headcount reassigns, intros reroute, renewals pause for alignment. They still admire your talent. They cannot stake outcomes on your pulse. Their departure changes your climate more than 1,000 tweets. It removes ballast. Without ballast, everything you do rocks. Opportunists flood in the moment the ballast leaves. They understand your economics better than you do. Praise is payment in advance of a favor. Panic is down payment on an exception. They bring emergencies with flattering headlines, only asking once for the relationship. You pay with time, terms, and reputation. The more you explain, the more you teach them which words open which doors. You drown, not in work but in narration. Emails to justify why this time is unique. Calls to clarify what the standard still means. Posts to frame your values. Talk expands, power things. Inside your house, the physics change. The patients are taxed. The loud are paid. Quiet performers who hit dates become less visible. Dramatic rescuers get promoted for fixing leaks they caused. Managers learn to keep screenshots of your waivers, not to blackmail you, but to survive your reversals. The culture stops reading the law and starts reading you. That is not culture, that is the court. Meanwhile, the market finishes its study with a sentence. Committees do not read your soul, they read your signal history. Procurement compresses you to great output, no breaks. Risk reduces you to talented but reactive. That line precedes you into rooms. It downgrades your urgency before you speak. It moves you to the 4:45 slot where decisions go to nap. It adds covenants to deals and communication support to your calendar, like training wheels for a rider. The board no longer trusts to steer, you deliver cleanly twice. It is luck, thrice. It is a phase. Only quarters of boring exactness make doubt more expensive than belief. You cannot out-talk a sentence that saves other people time. You must replace what earned it. Begin with visible law. Law is not a manifesto. It is a habit you keep under pain. Publish your terms, hours, channels, change gates, and obey them when it hurts. Collapse requests into one intake. Retire corridor favors. Price change if scope grows, the date moves, or the cost rises. Write both and collect both. Fix cadence. One weekly update, one page, one chart, one next action. Size to your worst day so you can hit it on your worst day. Retrain the economy of attention. After 8 p.m., no public words. If provoked, write once, sleep, and let a cold operator cut 9 of 10 sentences and all self-story. Your silence must signal motion, not fear. Make exceptions costly and public. A log with reason, approver, and toll. This converts rumor into record and favor into memory. Praise in public because morale compounds. Correct in private because dignity retains talent. Sanction without spectacle because justice is strongest when it does not need applause. Rebuild your ally layer with predictability, not charisma. If Thursday is demo day, Thursday is demo day, thin or thick, but real. If a meeting ends at 45, it ends at 45, your clock becomes a contract. Reward early pain the teammate who brings bad news while it is cheap. Promote the person who refuses a favor to protect the rule. Retire offerings that harvest applause without margin. Replace trust me with track this. Boredom is not an enemy, it is a rail. Modern recoveries prove the path. A founder kills after hours replies, routes all changes through a price gate, and ships Tuesdays only. Churn falls because customers reorganize around trains that arrive. A director ends corridor deals, sets a single escalation path, and sees emergencies drop by 2/3. Attrition slows because engineers get sleep. A campaign lead cuts promises to 3 lines, posts updates on Sundays at 1 hour, and watches volunteers come back because the plan stopped moving under pressure. None of this demands cruelty. It demands containment. Mercy when unpriced becomes a leak. Mercy when routed through law becomes trust. You can keep your warmth and still be costly to move. You can keep your talent and still be dull on time. In the rooms that decide budgets and futures, dull on time is the compliment that compounds. The sentence you can't out-talk will fade when it stops predicting the future. Screenshots will dry up because there is nothing dramatic to sell. Opportunists will migrate to softer courts. Strong allies will return with heavier cargo because your lines hold. Neutrals will stop hedging because hedging wastes hours against a leader whose yes means yes and whose no survives the night. The wound in you wanted relief. Give it respect. Give it a chair, not the lever. Let the law carry weight. Your throat cannot speak once in proportion according to code. Then let the record, not your mood, keep your promises alive when the weather turns. Fewer vows, harder lines, right on time. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. You stop trying to be understood and start becoming required. You trade the theater of feelings for the logistics of order. Trust is not an embrace, it is a timetable. You post the rails, you keep the clock, predictable benefits for compliance. Predictable costs for breach, quietly, always. Trust equals predictable benefit plus predictable cost. On the benefit side, speed, access, protection. You answer inside the windows you published. Priority channel in 4 hours, email in 1 business day, Proposals in 48. You convene the right people at one time, not in scattered threads that bleed the weak. You shield the diligent when the weather turns. Their slots hold, their budgets stay intact, their names are defended in the room. On the cost side, deprioritization, scope cuts, replacement, make the ledger felt. A client asks for 2 tiny tweaks after sign-off. You breathe, attach the form, and offer options. Price change this week or original scope on the original date. They choose, the calendar remains sovereign. A lead engineer blows the handoff again. You log it, reduce their scope to what can be trusted, and assign a mentor for 2 weeks. If they rise, access restores. If not, replacement is step 4. No rage, only rails. Policy over personality. Personality is weather. Policy is stone. Translate kind, patient, decisive into rules you follow even when you are tired. Kind becomes a response window that keeps people out of panic. Patience become proof standards that protect the room from gossip. Claims require data, date, owner. Decisive becomes a decision calendar. Days when choices land, and they land whether you feel brave or bored. Start with response windows and leave them like promises to strangers. Publish once, keep forever. Your silence between pings turns into trust because the clock speaks for you. Then set proof standards. If it isn't measurable or testable, it waits outside until it is. Rumor arrives at your door without a ticket. Data enters with a seat. Build a decision cadence that removes drama. Monday is intake. Wednesday is triage. Friday is commit. You invite dissent once per decision. If new facts appear, reopen. If only new feelings appear, proceed. Escalation becomes a ladder printed on the wall. Reminder, written expectation with date, reassign or reduce access. Replace, mercy is measured, offered to restore order, never to reward chaos. Your good nature ceases to be a loophole. It becomes a posted clause. Documents carry your will into rooms you never enter. Keep a decision, log, date, choice, owner, deadline, risk, next review. Keep a change log. What shifted? Why? Who is affected by when? Store 1 canonical file per domain with version and day. Scope _v 2.3 _14 May. Rules. Final _v 7 real is exiled. When memory argues, you open the book. Arguments shrink, throughput rises. Character becomes enforceable because paper outlives mood. Symbols of law steady the pulse. Put visible clocks where decisions are made. Each agenda item bears minutes printed in advance. When the bell hits, you decide or defer by rule. Seating is choreography, not vanity. You take the chair with sightlines to the door and the board, your deputy within whisper distance, operators along your eye path, guests across the decision line. Information climbs to altitude without a sermon on rank. Fix speaking order to prevent the soft coo of interruption. Owner frames. Data speaks. Objection once, decision lands. Assignments lock. Template forms turn chaos into lanes. Issue brief, change order, risk note, 1-page decision. Each form asks the same simple things: context, options, cost, risk, recommendation, so people arrive ready for gravity. Dress the choosing hour with consistency. 1 clean form repeated. You do not dress to impress. You dress to signal that time is in session. Punctuality becomes your billboard. You start on the minute, end on the minute, and send minutes before the hour flips. Emails are short enough to be obeyed. Subject lines with verbs and dates, 3 lines in the body, context, decision, next step. You remove the cushions where excuses sleep. Crisis will test whether this is theater or law. A production outage hits at noon. At 12:15, a 2-paragraph update lands: issue, impact, mitigation, next update time. At 1, the next note arrives on the minute. Teams that ride the rails regain speed and earn protection. Teams that ignore them see access narrow for a week. By sundown, the patch is live, the log is complete, and the release notes close the story. Trust here is not applause. It is relief that inside your rules the world works. Carry the geometry home. Dinner at 7 means plates at 7, phones in a bowl by the door, late dishes. Predictable benefit, warm food, real talk. Predictable cost, soap and sleeves. Love survives longer in a house with rails than in a house with pleas. You are not demanding tenderness, you are designing terms that protect it. In time, you will be misread by those who feed on drama. They will call you cold because you do not sprint at every tremor, rigid because shortcuts now cost. Let the calendar do your public relations. As trains keep arriving and tolls keep collecting, good people settle, operators multiply, and opportunists peel away. You are not understood, you are required. Post the rails, keep the clock, price the breach. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Cold control is not a feeling. It is a protocol. You will not wait for calm to arrive. You will manufacture it on demand. 4 steps: assess, arrange, act, archive, run the same in private, semi-public, and public arenas. Your voice stays level while the rails do the heavy lifting. The room learns your weather and moves under your canopy. Assess, classify in 30 seconds. Ask 3 questions, always in this order. What is this? Noise, negotiation, or threat? Who benefits from speed? You, them, or no one? What is the cheapest reversible move now? If it is noise, refuse the bait with a neutral line. Noted, continue. If it is negotiation, slow the tempo. Hold that, we decide at 4. If it is a threat, buy time with a procedure. Per policy, submit artifact A by noon. You seize definition before emotion spikes. Keep a pocket grid in your notes. Ni = noise. Ignore, G = give and take, defer to window. G = threat, demand proof. 2 quick self-checks, stop panic. If I say nothing, who gains? If I explain, who recruits? When the answers are unclear, you are missing data, not courage. Buy time, buy documents, buy silence. Arrange, set the board, so others move inside your rules. Post, scope, tempo, and proof like border signs. Scope, what's in and what's out. In weekly check-in, pilot approval, budget under X. Out, midnight messages, unscheduled quick calls, work beyond the signed brief. Tempo, decision windows, noon and 5, or Tuesday and Friday at 17 o'clock. Proof, acceptable evidence. Demo beats deck. Signed memo beats chat. Receipt beats rumor. Decide seating, speaking order, and escalation path. Seat the decider in your sightline. Give the moderator the clock, and park escalations in a single door. Questions that exceed scope, go to Thursday review. Open every room with the scoreboard, not the story. Goal, risk, date. We end with names and next steps. The point is not charm. The point is jurisdiction made visible. Act, proportionate and collectible. Select one move and execute without heat. The menu is simple. Ignore, defer to procedure, partial sanction, full sanction. Each option must attach to a cost you can collect, priority drop, access change, or a contract trigger. Ignore for noise and probes. You do not feed the fire, you strengthen the fence. Script, move a chair, remove a vanity title from the slide. Post a banner, effective today. Questions, Q, 2-minute caps. Answers recorded. Spoken line, we will follow the order. The person is not the story, the policy is. Defer to procedure, to push their energy into your rails. Script, per intake. Attach the checklist and resubmit by 10 o'clock, review at 17 o'clock, or change order template attached. Accepting moves delivery to the 28th and adding plus 2K, confirmed by 5. The burden shifts from your nerves to their paperwork. Either they pay the toll or they wait in line like everyone else. Partial sanction, a small certain cost. Priority drops, response slows, fast lane access pauses, script, missed gate, ticket resets, feature 2 drops, or per section 3. Priority speaking requires adherence. Your slot moves to written questions for 2 sessions. The price is public. The tone is porcelain. Full sanction, decisive and lawful. Revoke access, reduce scope to protect the ship date, or trigger clauses. Script, per 4.2, unauthorized disclosure, ends access effective immediately. Review concludes Friday. Or, 2 missed gates trigger scope reduction. Ship proceeds with features 1 and 3, document, then go silent. Deterrence spreads because the tariff is predictable and paid on time. Archive, memory is power. Paper rules what adrenaline forgets, Log every breach and every compliance in a ledger. Name, event, outcome, tag, credit/repair/watch. Summarize outcomes to allies by close of day. One metric, one date, one owner, decision. Approve pilot, metric activation. Date October 20th. Owner Kamal. Convert anecdotes into trend lines each Friday. Who hits, who misses, whose emergencies are real. Use the pattern to reset access tiers quarterly. A earns fast lane, B stays standard. C rebuilds trust through 2 clean cycles. Written memory ends rumor warfare. It is cheaper to follow the page than to fight it. Arena calibration fits the move to the stage. Private coaching plus warning. Protect face, state remedy. Name the clock. You missed the window. Remedy. Submit by noon. Decision at 5. Semi-public policy quoted by proxy and a minor cost applied. Your lieutenant says per the queue. Presenter completes. Questions follow the list. A repeat breach earns a written note. Late items revert to standard review. Public principles stated and consequence stamped. We protect clarity and time. Per 4.2, questions move to written only for 2 sessions. The law is the same. The temperature changes. The crowd reads fairness in your restraint. Daily rituals automate calm. Morning docket, 10 minutes. Write the top 3 rooms with scope and out. 1 deciding metric and the window. Rehearse 3 lines out loud. 1 no, 1 delay, 1 exit. No, this sprint. Option A, pilot next week. Option B, full build next month with budget locked. Delay strong. We'll review Thursday at noon. Exit. This left the agenda. Send 2 bullets. Reply at 5. Midday pulse 5 minutes. Timer water, short walk. Send the 3 notes you are avoiding, each tied to your reply windows. Evening archive, 7 minutes. Minutes out, 1 metric, 1 date, 1 owner, ledger touched. 1 rule tightened by a single line. Many screws signal panic. 1 screw signals command. Scripts and counters stop improvisation leaks. Flattery. Put it in writing, deliverable and date. Urgency. Decision at 4 p.m. Bring proof A's B and name the cost of waiting. Guilt. Options and prices are posted. Vague asks, send the artifact. We'll queue it. Scope creep outside scope. Choose a pilot next week or B full build next month with budget locked. Passive aggression. I don't interpret. I schedule checklist by noon. Personal jab. Policy decides. Not my pride. Side channel recruitment. Keep it in the forum. Attach the document. Watch the protocol at work. Semi-public review. A rival performs expertise mid-slide to drag you into a duel. Assessment tags negotiation. Speed benefits them. Cheapest reversible move is proxy correction. You pause 3 beats. The lieutenant says, per the queue, clarifiers only. You say, proceed. The review lands on time. Minutes go out with the rule in bold. Family public. A relative posts half-truths to embarrass you into free labor. Arrange triggers the scoreboard. Full notes with timestamps at 6. Task assignments Saturday 1-3. Proof arrives. The group tired of chaos migrates to your order. Private a client texts at 22:30 with urgent scope. Assess flags negotiation. Arrange points to windows. Act defers to procedure. Change order template attached. Accepting moves delivery to the 28th and adding plus 2K. Confirm by 5. The calendar, not your adrenaline, answers. Understand the psychology under the steel. Assess kills confusion. Arrange kills drift. Act replaces anger with a mechanism. Archive turns truth into an object. Over weeks, people dress their asks to fit your forms, plan to your windows, and correct each other to earn the fast lane. You speak less and order expands, not because you are cold, but because you are consistent. Calm becomes cheaper than chaos. That is sovereign math. Classify. Set the board, cut once, write it down. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. You do not wish for calm. You build the optics and the operations that make calm inevitable. When the rules are posted and restraint is practiced, the room learns your tempo. The price of chaos rises. The payoff of clarity multiplies. Fewer crises, cleaner alliances, a life that runs on rails rather than adrenaline. You spend strength on creation, not on cleanup. The quiet dividend arrives first. Good partners self-select because standards carry weight. A founder sends a draft early. Cut to your template timed for your Tuesday review because Tuesday reviews are law. A recruiter forwards 2 exact fits, not a storm of resumes, since your criteria are plain and your interviews are clean. A client opens with fair terms, remembering the last contract was paid to the day and disputes were closed by the document, not by mood. Time thieves drift toward looser harbors where confusion is cheap. Your calendar breathes blocks with air around them, early drafts instead of late emergencies, fewer urgent pings that evaporate on contact. Order proves humane because it saves everyone's time and treats adults like adults. Affection stops being currency and becomes a bonus paid by reliability. Inside the team, the same math compounds. Roles are written, handoffs are drilled. Decisions are stamped once with the owner, deadline and definition of done. Meetings shrink because the agenda is a gate, not a suggestion. Disputes dissolve into facts because the record has a spine. You reward punctuality, precision, and clean delivery. The room brings them before you speak. The storytellers adapt to numbers. The dramatists adapt to schedules. Momentum compounds. People stop guarding their backs and start guarding the mission. Quiet becomes the speed of work. Your presence no longer needs to prove itself. The ledger does the talking. Then, mercy with memory. Forgive once in private. Honor loyalty in public. Record both. A teammate slips. You close the door, state the breach, and write restitution, narrower scope, new date, midweek checkpoint. Signed, not performed. Dignity recovers in the shade. Later, you name the analyst who carried the numbers across the line, the assistant who kept the board packet flawless, the engineer who refused to panic and shipped. Praise is specific, not syrup. It teaches the court what wins here. Meanwhile, you keep patterns on record, not a grudge book, a risk map, dates, misses, repairs, outcomes. When repetition appears, you act without malice and without delay. Limit scope, move the seat, or end access. Grace rests on history, not hope. Safety rises because consequences are predictable and private. The dependable run farther, the unreliable stop wasting the corridor. This pairing, warmth with edge, travels beyond your walls. Vendors bring clean drafts because the messy version will not pass the gate. Partners route risk through you because your yes is firm and your no is brief. Friends ask for introductions with context and a deadline because you answer precision, not pressure. The market prices you as costly to cross and safe to follow. Loyalty becomes a habit chosen for its yield, not a myth shouted for your ego. You spend less fuel proving fairness. Your system proves it for you every day on time. Now live above the weather. Picture storms outside, notifications like hard rain, rumors like wind scraping glass, inside steady lights. Agendas posted, clocks visible, outcomes on time. Each lantern is a ritual, morning list, midday triage, end-of-day audit, Friday reset. Entrances are measured. No request without an owner, a deadline and a clear definition of done. Exits are clean, decision recorded once, next step assigned, time-stamped. Your voice is unhurried because your rails are firm. When urgency tries to buy you, the corridor answers, place it in writing, we'll review at noon. When scope swells, the wall replies, that is a new decision, propose metric, cost, and owner. Your silence becomes policy, your schedule becomes a promise. Your promise becomes a deterrent. Weather comes and goes. The beams do not. This is the dividend of disciplined calm. Fewer crises because small fires meet stone. Cleaner alliances because records outvote rumor. A life routed by schedule rather than siren. Keep the code visible. Reward in daylight. Forgive once in private. Track patterns. Decide when promised. Spend strength on building, not on spectacle. Build law, then calm.